Hello crafty friends, this is the Papered Chef here. In today's tutorial, you're going to learn how to cut out stamped images using your Brother ScanNCut SDX 125. The stamp set we'll be using is called Ride With Me by Stampin Up. It's available right now. It was released in June as part of our 2019-2020 annual catalog. The project I'll show you at the end of this video is wishing you loads of Christmas cheer. We're going to stamp the truck, we're going to stamp the tree in the truck, and we're going to cut out both of those together. Finally, I'm going to color the image using the Stampin' Blends and show you how I use this truck on a project. Let's get started right away by using Memento Black ink onto Whisper White cardstock. This is a piece of Whisper White. It has good ink absorption. This is the foam pad I have from the case that came with my stamping blocks. Okay, I'll let you look at that over here. We'll put that over here. And I've already mounted the stamp. It's a photopolymer stamp. I've mounted the truck already. And I've mounted it on to Stamping Block E. So we're going to put some ink on it. I have a couple ink pads. I kind of use both of them. You just use one if I hope it's inky. There you go. I just like using both because when I use both, I know I get good ink coverage. So I'm tapping the ink. I'm going to show you that again in better detail, but I don't like to put it right on top of my page because up on the top of my mat, it's not very sticky at the very top. So I tend to start about an inch down. Never just stamp one of whatever you're doing. Always stamp a couple because it's better to mass produce. So normally I would stamp like 5 or 6 of these trucks, use them for my projects and cards, cut them all out, etc. Okay, so the reason this truck is a little bit tricky is because the artist did something, which is he or she, I don't know if it's a he or she. Let me go get a pencil. Stampin' Up has good artists, and they tend to, they want something to be whimsical, so they skip little spaces like that. Well, our scanner is really good. In fact, this scanner in the SDX 125 is actually so good that it has a 600 DPI scanner, meaning 600 dots per inch. So in order for you to let this be recognized as one big image, you have to fill in those little gaps. So I'm taking a pencil and I'm filling in those 2 little gaps. You can erase them later with the eraser, like a white eraser. So here we go. You just fill those in. They're the only 2 that I had to fill in. Even though there's a couple other little gaps, they're not. See, like on this tire, there's a gap, but usually that didn't really matter. But definitely fill in these 2. So fill in the gaps with a number 2 pencil. And there we go, in that little tire. So there we go, we have no gaps. So what I want to do is I want to put the tree on here. So I'm using, but the tree, okay, I got to show you the stamp first. The tree has this sort of motion going on with the little pine needles flying off the tree. Well, I didn't want the little motion because then I would have to outline that to be able to cut that. So I wanted to I just want the tree alone, but not the little wispies. So I mounted that tree onto a D block, and I took what's called a Stampin' marker. I have a set of these. So the Garden Green, I'm using Garden Green. There's a reason I use Garden Green because it matches. Got a little piece of paper stuck in there. It matches the project I'll be showing you. All right, so now I'm coloring with the marker with Garden Green. Everything but those little wispies that are flying out the back. But I am glad that they're in the picture because it made me know which side was up, which side of the tree. Because I was like, are they supposed to hang off the truck? And then I realized that they're flying off the truck. So that made me know which way to face this tree. All right, so here we go. So now I'm going to take that, I'm going to put it onto the truck. I'm going to do it. You have to color each time. By the way, if you took a long time to color, you might want to do what's called huffing. That means you breathe on your stamp. Okay, you breathe on your stamp because it lets you know All right, lets it get a little bit wet. I mean, not let you know. Okay, it makes it a little bit wetter, and it does a little bit better job stamping. Okay, good. Now you see how the tree's touching the truck. I like it. It's all one big enclosed piece. It's going to stamp. It's going to do nicely, or cut out nicely. All right, now we got to color this stamp again, and I'll just make sure I'm in focus here so you can see me color. So you can color rubber stamps, wooden stamps, acrylic stamps. I mean, any kind of stamps with your markers. When you use your markers, you're coloring just part of the stamp and not the whole thing. Okay, here we go. Garden green. Get the tree facing the right way. Okay. And then if for example, if your tree didn't touch the back of your truck, then you would definitely, use a little pencil to make sure you enclose that. All right, so now we're going to do our scanning and our cutting. So let's take this piece of Whisper White and attach it to the mat. And again, I don't like to go right up to the top of my mat. I go a little bit away from the top, and I'm going to put a little piece of painter's tape there to make sure it sticks real good. And another piece for good measure. Okay, so now we're going to open the ScanNCut. And when you turn on your machine, you can see pattern and scan. Let's see. Let me get this machine closer so you can see all the steps. I don't want you to miss anything. I put the lid back on my marker. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to load the mat, and then I'll give you a better view of the screen. Because if I don't load the mat, then I have to sit and hold that, and I can't hold the stylus and everything I'm trying to hold here. So now, let me do this. We have pattern and scan. We're going to say scan. We want to say direct cut because we want to directly cut out these trucks. We want to say save to the machine. And yes, we want to use, or yes, no, it's not on there, but we want to use scan recognition area 12 by 6. So definitely use 12 by 6. Don't waste your time scanning a 12 by 12 area when you can just scan a 12 by 6. I only have 2 trucks and they're on the top. Now, even if you had colored these trucks ahead of time, which I don't color ahead of time for several reasons, even if you did, you wouldn't want to pick color recognition mode because you have these trucks contrast really well with the background. So you don't need color recognition mode. Okay, we're going to say okay. Now, the trucks have been outlined beautifully. So let's put a selection around the trucks. Okay, I've selected an area. So now it can ignore all that stuff along the back. Okay, if I want to ignore object sizes, like if there were any extra bits, I could ignore small objects. But even if I do ignore objects, you see there's still so many of them. It's just better to just zoom into or to select the area you want to scan. Okay, so let's show you that close up. And just go like that. I'm just going to show you that. See? So the truck's outlined beautifully, and I ignored all that mess over there. Okay, let's say okay. And we'll say okay again. Now I want to put an outline distance around my trucks of 0.04 outline distance. Okay, and that just gives a little white outline around the edges. Say okay. And then we're going to say cut, and start. All right, so now it's cutting, and this is what the outline distance looks like. So instead of cutting, it just grabbed my tape. I have to pull the piece of painter's tape. Be careful that doesn't get caught up in your machine, by the way. I've used it so much it's not sticky. Okay, so you want the outline distance is this. It puts the white extra outline around it. So I'm anxiously awaiting my holiday catalog pre-order arrival. Stampin' Up! Demonstrators are allowed to order from the holiday catalog. So I will be showing you products from this catalog. I'm not allowed to open the catalog. That's why I taped it shut so I wouldn't be tempted or accidentally open it for you. But if you do order anything from me, like this truck ride, or I'm sorry, ride with me stamp set, or anything that I show you today, because I'm going to be showing you something else. If you order anything, then you're going to get this holiday catalog, and you're going to get a sample of something I make with the holiday catalog as soon as I get my holiday catalog pre-order. And that catalog goes live September 4th. So do check out my website, which will be linked in the description. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unload the mat. Okay, so it's already cut out. And then, so basically you just, to get these off, you just tilt the mat a little bit, peel them off, and you can use your little spatula that came with it. Okay, so we're just going to take one of these and we're going to color it, and then I'm going to show you the project I created with one that was dried and colored. So let's get some room here. Move my ScanNCut out of the way. It did a beautiful job cutting. Let's tilt this down. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use both markers and the Stampin' blends. The reason is you have to use whatever you have. Okay, the reason is you have to use whatever you have. And in my case, I need to be able to match. I'm just going to use this to color on. To match this to some designer series paper. So I'm using these particular blends. I'm going to tell you them as I color with them. And by the way, that little, for some reason, this little nub got cut off, got on the top of my truck. Sometimes it doesn't cut out exactly even around something, but you can just fix that with a little pair of scissors, no big deal. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to show you one that's colored so you can kind of see where I'm going with it. And I'm going to take the dark. Always use, if you're using a pair of blends, you take the dark one first. And in this case, it's Smoky Slate. I'm zooming out a little so you can see. And I could take the thick side because I'm doing, there's a thick side and a thin side of every blends marker. And I kind of, when I'm coloring such big areas, I sort of just twirl my, I circle, not twirl. I kind of make little circle motions as I'm coloring. It's just something, you have to kind of see it to know what I'm talking about. I just color in circles, and it sort of like makes me get more colored quicker. So I always color with the dark first, the dark color of the pair, and then the light color. So here's the dark, this is still the dark Smoky Slate, but now I'm using the thin side. And I want to do the front bumper a little bit, down here. Okay, and I think that's all I colored in the dark Smoky Slate. Oh no, and the handle of the door. Okay, the handle of the door. So now I'm done that. So now I take the light Smoky Slate, because they come in pairs, and and you could blend too. That's the point of blends, is to blend the colors together, but I thought this truck looked better with solid areas of color. And so it's all up to you. There's no right or wrong way to do anything in crafting. No matter what people try to tell you, there's never a right or wrong way. It's whatever you feel like doing. It's whatever supplies you have too. So everything I just taught you, use whatever supplies you have. If you don't have, ride with me. Cut out a different stamped image. Color a different stamped image. If you don't have blends, use colored pencils. Use markers. Okay, I use light Smoky Slate there. Now what I did is I took this, what's called a color lifter, whenever I messed up something or when I wanted to lift some color. So I took the color lifter and I went, and you just sort of lift that color like this. Okay, so color lifter, it'll sort of get that color off. And I also made the window lighter. After that dries a little, I use the color lifter on it to make the window a little bit lighter. So notice how the window is lighter than the Smoky Slate. So now I took the dark cherry cobbler, thick side, and I colored in the bumper. Oh, I noticed I forgot the light Smoky Slate on the top. I noticed something. I forgot one little layer of Smoky Slate. So again, if you really want to blend the truck, you can make the outside of the truck darker than the inside of the truck. You know what? I'm gonna switch to the small side. I'm just more comfortable with the small side when I'm at this weird angle. Now, normally I just color when I'm watching TV and things like that. So I have a better angle. I make myself a little board. Like a little TV tray or a board or something stiff, and then I just bring only the colors I'm needing, and I do like an assembly line. If I had 6 trucks to color, I color all the, like I would color all the dark sections of cherry cobbler first. Then I would color the light sections of cherry cobbler. That's what I'm doing now. I'm coloring the light cherry cobbler. And it doesn't matter if you accidentally go over the bumper, because you can blend on top of these. They don't matter. So I'm using the thick side for this bottom of the truck, but then I need to move to the thin side, because otherwise I'll mess this up. So let's go like the thick side. I'm still my original set of blends. I've never had to replace any of my blends. I use them all the time. So these are alcohol markers, and that's the reason I use Memento black ink, because it works great with these alcohol markers. It doesn't smear. Okay, let's see. All right, I like it. I don't know what went on there. Maybe just a little bit of the thick side again. I think it's just drying. So as it dries, it comes out like really cool, like the wispies. All right, so now I'm going to use next is the light shaded spruce. Remember, I stamped in garden green. There's a reason I stamped in garden green. You're going to find out why. But I don't have garden green blends, so I used my light shaded spruce. I mean, after all, it is a Christmas tree after all, right? Or a holiday tree. Okay, so that's why I'm using spruce. It works good, but I still wanted to keep the garden green in there. And so I even went back over it in garden green, so I'll show you that. Don't worry about coloring outside the lines. You just take the color lifter if you do. If you color outside the line like I did, actually it doesn't really matter. You can lift the color a little bit. And then I can go back in with lift that green off, go back in with some light cherry cobbler, no big deal. So now I take my marker. I'm going to go back to my marker, because that's the garden green I have in the marker, but I don't have in the blends. And I take my thin side, and I went back over all those lines again, because I really do want the garden green to stand out, because it matches the Designer Series paper I'm using. The Designer Series paper I'm using is called Dashing Along Designer Series paper, and it is so cool because it's retired now. But right now, not only can you get this Ride With Me stamp set, because it's available in our catalog, but the Designer Series paper, Dashing Along, it is on clearance for only $4.40. And so it's retired, it's from last year, but it has really cool colors in it and really cool designs, and you get 12 sheets of double-sided paper for $4.40. You can't beat that. So I always pop that in my cart. Until they run out, I'm going to keep popping it in my cart, because I never have enough holiday paper for craft fairs. So until they literally run out, I'm getting that for $4.40 every time I go to buy some. Now here's what I do with the color lifter. This is an alcohol color lifter. So like an alcohol marker. So if I lift the color out of the window, it'll come out lighter. But I didn't want to do it until the smoky slate dried a little bit, because I didn't want it to be all blotchy. And so that'll get lighter. Okay, now I forgot the smoky slate in the tires. I did the light smoky slate around the bumpers, not tires, bumpers. Smoky slate's one of those neutral colors that goes with anything. Same with crumb cake. Anytime you get a neutral color like that, you're safe to use it in any project, because it sort of matches. And then what I did is I took my Wink of Stella, which is the glitter pen. This one has more in it. And I glittered up my Christmas tree a bit. Okay, and you can't really see that unless I put that in the light. And you can even put some glitter on your window. I mean, heck, you can put glitter on the whole truck. It will look cute. I just got green inside my window because I touched it to this before it was dry. So I hope you could see how cool this glitter looks. In fact, it's almost like a 3D effect when it does dry. So put that on your Christmas tree. I'm gonna let you see the glimmer in the light. Now, what I did next is, for the project, is I put the truck on what's called a wobble spring. I will link to wobble springs. You can please use my links if you're going to shop on Amazon anyway. It doesn't cost you anymore, and it helps support my channel. So I'm using wobble springs. Here's how you use a wobble spring. It can't get any easier. I get these in packs of 100. But I mean, you can get them in packs of, I think I'll link to a pack of 12. There, so you put that on the back. And by the way, Whisper White does bleed through with the alcohol markers. So, because it's a thinner cardstock. But anyway, there's my wobble. And now I'm gonna I took the wobble off, and here's my project. Show you my finished project. What I did is I took this sticker off, okay, and I created this project. And it is a mini pizza box project, okay? And so here's the truck on a wobble spring, and I'm using Dashing Along Designer Series paper, and I'm using Wishing You Loads of Christmas Cheer. And the way I got that loads of Christmas cheer is just by using what's called the Timeless Tag Punch. Okay, so everything I'm showing you is available right now. You can get the Timeless Tag Punch. You stamp your sentiment from here. It comes in this Ride With Me stamp set. Wishing you loads of Christmas cheer. In fact, look, there's also pumpkins. We could do Happy Harvest. How fun. We could do all kinds of stuff. I'm always here to pick you up. Oh, that's funny. I'd never used that one yet. Here, you go like this. You go, wishing you loads of Christmas cheer. You punch it out with the Timeless Tag Punch. You stick that on the pizza box with dimensionals. You stick the truck on a wobble spring. And then you have a cute little pizza box. And I used Dashing Along Designer Series paper for this. And the colors in Dashing Along Designer Series paper, and this is the $4.40 pack, are Garden Green, Cherry Cobbler, and Whisper White. It's very simple paper. And I put just some Tic Tacs inside. And I like this little saying. It says, the auto hack, I don't know, just whatever it said on the paper. And I could still put another cute little thing up there if I want. I can put another saying in there. I just use Tic Tacs for now, but I do have some sort of Christmas mints I'm going to try. All right, so here's what the paper looked like after I cut out the Brother ScanNCut pieces. So if you want me to show you how I decorate a mini pizza box using the Brother ScanNCut, please put that in the comments. And if I get enough interest, I can show you how to decorate a mini pizza box using the Brother ScanNCut, because it's very simple and very easy. I cut out, see, here are the I just cut them out. I didn't even use up the whole sheets of paper. I did, all these pieces. And this is what the paper looks like, double-sided. Okay, I think you get 3 designs, 4 sheets of each. That's called Dashing Along, in clearance, $4.40. Okay, now, lastly, those of you that are watching this be like, I saw something about that truck. Maybe if you're familiar with Stampin' Up products, you're like, wait a minute, don't they make dies to go with that truck? Oh, yes, we do. And one of the things you do, if you get something in the catalog, if you get the stamp set and the die set together, you save 10% if it's the first year we're releasing something. Now, you might be going, what in the heck do you do with that die? Well, if you want to know, I could do a tutorial on it, but let me just show you the finished product. This is a 3D truck. Okay, these are called the truck ride dies. I mean, this truck was so cool, I thought about just getting the dies. But then the appeal of getting the stamp set, because it's different, it has like this kind of, I just like the stamp set as well, but because you can also stamp the little windows. But check this out. So the dies make a 3-dimensional truck. Here's a truck I made with powder pink. And it cuts out everything. It just cuts out the truck in one big piece. It makes the flatbed have little ridges in it. And then it cuts out the bumpers. It cuts out the tires. It cuts out, I don't think it cut out the windows actually. I had to cut those out by hand. I put little faceted gems on the bumper and cut all these pieces out. See, so, and I put 2 mini Tic Tacs in there, but it also holds 2 Tootsie Rolls. And I think I'm doing these for Christmas craft fairs as well. Putting something in, I'm like, I found today at Family Dollar, I said, I found this like lip gloss that might fit in there. And it was candy cane flavor. I'm not sure if it'll fit in there, but anyway, I'm going to try putting different things in there with Christmas patterns. So yes, we do make dies to go with the truck. And you probably just could have cut out, I don't know, I'm not going to try it because I have a ScanNCut. But you probably could cut the truck out with this piece of the die. But you know what? Why would I try that when I'm going to use this for the 3-dimensional objects and for cutting out the pieces? And I'm going to use my ScanNCut for what it does best, like cutting this whole big thing out in one fell swoop. And look how quick we did it. And I also cut it all out as one object. So I'm going to use the right tool for the job. So you need a big shot for these, just in case you don't have a big shot. You need a big shot for dies, and you don't for the stamps. You just need your ScanNCut. All right, thank you for watching. This is the Paper Chef, and thank you for all my new patrons who are supporting my channel. There'll be a link below if anyone wants to find out more about Patreon, which I launched a couple days ago. Thank you. Bye for now.